if you're doing acrobatic flying and that thing starts spinning, woo! But if you're not doing acrobatic flying and that thing starts spinning, do this to get out of it. Hey, let go! Hey, knowing how to recover from a spin can give you a strong sense of confidence as a pilot. Not only knowing how to recover from it, but understanding what actually causes a spin. And so you can have a high sense of awareness where they may inadvertently happen throughout your flying and pilot journey. Let's get into that thing right now. Hey, let go! Boom! So let's start with what is a spin. In its most simplistic form, all a spin is a uncoordinated stall. When you're asked to perform a stall on the aircraft, whether it's a power on stall or a power off stall, think about what exactly are you doing when you're performing that. Hey, let go. Boom! This you right here, floating that thing, sliding across, and you're asked to perform a stall, and you got that thing pitched up, and you're stalling, and you're stalling, and you're stalling. When you're stalling, it hits the brake after you had your 3 stages of a stall. If you want a review of the 3 stages of a stall, there's a video on this channel. You can watch that link at the end of this video for both power on and power off stalls. When you're going through the 3 stages of a stall and you have the stall warning horn, and then you have, of course, buffeting, where it starts buffeting and starts shaking, and then the last, of course, is the brake, where it breaks and it finally comes back down. In a power on or power off stall, one of your main objectives is you want to go straight back and straight down. So when you're doing that straight back and let it fall straight down, everything is coordinated. But when things get uncoordinated, that's when it can get into a spin. So that's exactly what a spin is, and that's exactly what causes a spin, is a uncoordinated stall. The plane has stalled itself and you're in an uncoordinated fashion, meaning that nose is no longer in line with the tail. It is uncoordinated. If you ever go up for an acrobatic flight, which I highly and strongly recommend at some point throughout your aviation journey, just so you can get a feel for it, and the pilot puts the aircraft into a spin, what they're purposely doing to make it spin on purpose is they're actually giving it more rudder in either direction to make it become uncoordinated. They're purposely trying to make the aircraft be uncoordinated, where the tail and the nose are not in line, not coordinated with each other when it's reaching that brake of the stall, so it can go right into a spin. So this is what happens inadvertently when you accidentally get into a spin. Hey, boom! Now that you know what a spin is and what can cause a spin, that uncoordinated stall, it makes it easier and more simplistic in logic to what you would do to get out of it. Obviously, one of the things you would do to get out of it is you would make the plane coordinated. If it's uncoordinated is the reason why you got into this mess, then you want to make the plane coordinated, because that's going to help you get out of it. So thinking along those lines, that's why understanding why it did what it did can help you recover from the spin if you were to get into one. Hey, in aviation, there's an acronym for everything, and spin recovery is no different. The acronym you want to remember is PARE, P-A-R-E. The P in that acronym stands for power. You want to put your power to idle. So power to idle, you want your ailerons to be level. You want, of course, use the opposite rudder of whatever direction you're spinning in, and then you want elevator forward on that thing. So power, ailerons, rudder, and elevator are going to be the elements and the control surfaces that you're going to use to get out of a spin. Boom! So now that we understand the PARE acronym, let's look at why we're asked to perform these certain type of maneuvers and why they can easily help us recover from a spin. Let's start with the first one, bringing the power to idle. So if you're in a stall situation and that stall becomes uncoordinated, where that nose and tail is not in line with each other, and let's just say it starts to drift off to the left and it goes right into a spin. What are one of the things that maybe caused it to go into the spin in the beginning with? What made it become uncoordinated? Could it be possibly a lot of those left turning tendencies that happen on the aircraft that cause it to drift off to the left to begin with? Think about those left turning tendencies. If you want a review of that, there's a video on this page, and it can give you an explanation as to what happens to an aircraft, particularly when it's pitched up in this configuration. So think about pulling the power back to idle. Wouldn't that, of course, help with those left turning tendencies and get them to kind of neutralize themselves? That's one of the reasons why you want to pull that power back to idle as you're starting that spin. Secondarily, let's look at ailerons being level. Of course, if you were to just yank the ailerons in the opposite direction, if you were spinning to the left and then you were to just yank the ailerons into the right direction, what would happen to the wing surfaces? One of the ailerons would go down, and when the fact that it goes down, what happens? It causes drag, and that's just going to cause you to spin even more and more and more. We don't want any drag on our surfaces or on our wing surfaces if you're in a spin. You want them to be as smooth as possible, and the way you get that, having them ailerons level. and not pulled in either direction. A natural instinctive tendency would be able to, if you're spinning to the left, yank the aileron back to the right. Remember, this isn't a car. You're more than likely to do that in a car situation. If you're sliding off the road in one direction, yank the steering wheel back. But again, this is an airplane, not a car. Do not do that. Ailerons back to the neutral position because you want those wing surfaces to be level. You don't want one of those ailerons to be down while you're in a spin. That's just going to cause more drag and then cause you to spin even more and more and more. So you have that power back to idle. That's going to neutralize those left turning tendencies. You have that aileron level. That's going to get you back to where you need to be. Then you want to go opposite rudder. If you were spinning to the left, you want to put in your right rudder input. And the reason why you want to do this, think about this. The reason why you're in a spin to begin with, because what is a spin? A spin is a uncoordinated stall. So if it's uncoordinated, then how do you get the plane back coordinated? With the rudder, the opposite rudder of the direction that you're spinning. That is why you use rudder to recover from a spin. You want to go in that opposite direction, and that's going to help you get back coordinated. Okay, you've done that fine. Now what you want to do, you want to put the elevator forward. Why would you put it forward? Why wouldn't the natural, again, instinctive tendency pull back? Do not pull back when you're recovering for a spin. Forward. Why do you want to be forward? Because you got those wings nice and level. Because you got those ailerons neutral, you want to get air back over them. And the way to get the air back over them so the air can attach itself back to the wing. Because think about what a spin is. A spin is a uncoordinated stall. If the plane has stalled, what does that mean? The relative wind has become detached from the wings. You need to get it back attached to the wings. This is why you want elevator forward, so that it can come down nice and level, those wings are nice and smooth, and that air can get back attached to those wings. And if you do that, then everything is going to be fine. The wind is going to find its place on those wings, and then all you're going to do is simply recover from the dive, and you're in a beautiful situation. Boom! Hey, and it's just that simple. Power back to idle, ailerons level, opposite rudder, elevator forward to help you, of course, recover from that spin, and then you recover from the dive and you're back to where you need to be. Nice and easy. Just like you go over your emergency procedures and you can share that till everything becomes muscle memory. You have a nice flow checklist, whether you go from the bottom up and then from the right to the left of your aircraft on your controls, and then you verify with your emergency checklist to make sure you're in a good place. You can start doing the same thing with spin recovery. That's why you want to just drill these kind of emergency procedures into your mind easily while you're chairing, while you're getting those reps in. You can go over your spin recovery of what you would do if you were to spin to the left. What were you to do if you were to be in a spin to the right? And just go through it and make it muscle memory for you. Power back, ailerons level, opposite rudder, elevator forward. Boom! In that thing. Hey, boom! Check it. You know the vibe. There are multiple reasons why it's imperative that you learn spin recovery and you have it drilled into your mind. Because spins can happen not just from a power on or power off stall. There are multiple reasons why a spin can happen inadvertently in just regular everyday flying. So this isn't something that you have to be concerned with and know how to recover from just when you're performing a power on or power off stall. It can happen in regular everyday flying. Here are a couple scenarios. 1A, a simple go around can cause a spin. Let's just say you're coming in for a landing and you got that thing tracking well and you're starting to get slow and you're doing your thing, but then you realize for whatever particular reason, maybe you're too high, you're too low, whatever you are, you decide that you want to go around. Hey, fair enough, good call. But what most people do when they go around, they jam in the power. And when they jam in the power, what happens? Again, back to those left turning tendencies. Please review the left turning tendency video on this channel to recover exactly what happens to an airplane about those left turning tendencies. So you jam in all that power and you have that torque effect and you have a lot of things happening, and maybe you accidentally, for whatever reason, don't give it enough right rudder so you can stay coordinated, and you start to pull back because you're trying to pull yourself back up because you're going around. So now you're in a very precarious situation. Think about it. You are slow. You just jammed in all the power. You got the left turning tendencies happening. You didn't give it enough rudder, so you're uncoordinated, and then you pull back. Now you're in a situation just like you would be in a power on stall. And if it's uncoordinated and it goes too much, right into a spin, very low to the ground. This is why understanding how to recover from a spin, how to recognize, have that sense of awareness where it can possibly happen in regular everyday flying can help you. That's a nice, simple go around situation where it can pop off and you got to be ready for that thing. The same thing can happen on takeoff. Takeoff, similar situation. You're taking off on the runway, you got the thing pitched up, and let's just say for whatever particular reason, you're not paying attention to the airspeed or whatever. You may be looking down or working no comms or doing whatever you're doing. For whatever reason, the plane becomes uncoordinated and you're pulling back a little bit too much. And now you're in a situation that can also cause a spin. Remember, it happens from an uncoordinated stall. So that's one situation. It can happen again when you're coming down on final, getting ready to land that thing. And let's just say you're getting ready to turn base to final, but then maybe you overshoot. You overshoot that thing, baby. And now you're trying to make a really wide, awkward, uncoordinated turn, trying to get back in line on final after you overshot from the base to final kind of maneuver. And now you're real low and you uncoordinated. Maybe you didn't use your proper rudder inputs, and it can put you in a kind of situation that can cause a spin as well, where you got that thing banking and uncoordinated and low like that. So it can happen in regular everyday flying, which is why you always want to practice and have it drilled into your mind about the muscle memory of, again, power back to idle, ailerons level, opposite rudder, elevator forward, dive about that thing. Boom! And this is everything you need to know about spin awareness, why a spin even happens, and how to recover from that thing. Let go! Don't forget to like this video, comment on this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel. I am Donovan Batiste. This is Leadership Mindset, a place where you can come for free and fun videos about everything that you need to know for you to become a pilot. Because I want you to feel what pilots all over the world feel when we swinging and banging that thing. Let go! Subscribe to this channel.